worried that they even the way they grab me on the ground is like they don't want to let go. They don't want to do anything. Like even one thing I found about like the likes of like Khabib, exceptional ground game, and everyone loved him for it, but he would take you down and then try to inflict damage and try to
Yeah.
stop you and try to submit you, try to hit you. Like he was like, I'm trying to beat you up, which is part of the game. Whereas then you got these guys that I'm coming across where they'll hold you and it's just like, I don't want to do anything else. I just want to waste time. I'm just looking at the clock. Because I just don't want you to do anything to me. And I found like I had that fight, and even the owner himself at the time, Scott Coker, he very rarely is opinionated on fights. Um, he came out, I was like, yeah, I don't think, Storley should have won that. He didn't do anything and so on and so forth. But then straight after that fight, because nothing had happened to me, I'm fresh, like still ready to go. I'm like, yeah, I want to get back in. Like I'm eager to get back in. And they were like, oh, we don't actually have another fight for you until I'm sure it was like the end of the year or the beginning of next year because of all the slots and nonsense. But I was just like, I'm not waiting that long.
You want to stay active.
I want to stay active, and I'm again after going through such a hard camp to not really not feel like you've got any of that energy out. I was like, nah, I'm not waiting that long. Like, because they've allowed me to box before. So I've said to them, like, I'm going to try and get a boxing fight. And they're like, yeah, no, fine. Just let us know.
This is
let us know
Bellator.
when. This is Bellator.
Okay.
Weirdly enough, about a week later, my coach was like, oh, random one, up to you if you want to do it. David Hay is doing some work with BKFC. And David Hay's good friends with like the team, us, actually boxed with him first. And he's like, oh, he mentioned your name and everyone was excited and they were like, oh, they would love you to fight. Would you, if if you want to take it? And I was like, if that means I can keep active, then let's go.
Yeah.
They put forward Mike Perry's name. I was like, that's a great name, great personality.
Yeah.
Like to just kind of for the build up as well. Went back to Bellator, told them about it, and they were like, cool, no problem. Obviously, again, it's hard for them to say no at that point because they don't have a fight available for me at the time. And they were just like, yeah, cool, no problem. It's a good time. So that's when I ended up doing the bare knuckle.
Yeah. Have you done one of them before?
No, never. It's weird. When I was younger, a lot of my senior kickboxers and stuff that they would have done bare knuckle. It was quite popular back then, like but underground. It was never public. It hasn't been public for ages. That was actually one of the first shows in like something ridiculous. Someone said like 100 years or something.
Wow.
That was a public bare knuckle event in the UK. So it was again, it's just another thing to be a part of, like of history, to bring that back to the UK after so long.
How much was that different to what you was existingly doing?
Yes, it's weird. It's very different, and some of the keys that were different, I wouldn't even. I overlooked myself. My coach didn't. I overlooked. For example, even just the shape of the ring itself, it made a difference. And my coach was bugging me that whole week. Have you gone in and tested out the ring? And I'm like, oh no, I'll do it though. I'll do it though. And even like seriously, the whole time I was just like, I don't know why he's stressing about canvas. Like it's not a big deal. It was a big deal. It made a big difference, even just to have the awareness and understanding of the directions that I should be cutting in and which is I think one of it was a flaw because that's how I ended up getting caught as well because I didn't break properly. But anyway, yeah, it was that the training was boxing, but you could also grapple, so to speak, because they do dirty boxing.
Right.
So they allow you to clinch and throw punches while you're clinching.
Okay.
Which for us is okay because we're MMA fighters. But the guy I'm fighting is also a previous MMA fighter, so he's gonna have that kind of knowledge and understanding as well. Whereas if I was fighting a more like a boxing guy, it would have suited me better. So we had to do a little bit more like clinch work, which is great to do. And then obviously the difficult thing is you can't spar bare knuckle. There's too much cuts and whatnot. So the most you can do is spar in MMA gloves, which again we're used to, but the impact of a knuckle to a glove, no matter how thin, is very different. Apologies, I'm just turn that off in a sec. But it's very, very different. So just everything is damaging. The smallest of shots, there's shots that guys can normally walk through. You know, you take a jab and you can just ride through it. And you take this jab, you swell. You take this, it grazes you, it cuts it. It's way more damaging.
Wow.
So these are the differences.
Is it more painful?
It's more painful after, I'd say. But again, and I use this example because people are like, oh, you're not going to be used to it. But my example was in MMA, the only real difference is the hands. I still get to kick people and elbow people, and like you still do feel bone on bone at certain times. So there's no real difference really. And again, I don't really feel any of those things until after the fight. Like there's been many a times after a fight, I'm like, what the hell? Why's my leg hurting? And I'm limping down the road, and it's because there was 1 or 2 kicks that caught you during the fight. But in the fight, it doesn't mean anything. The adrenaline's too high. That none of that means anything. But straight after, you're like, yeah, I remember. Yeah. So like, yeah. So again, same thing in the bare knuckle. Hit my face was a balloon afterwards. My hands were swollen, like both hands. But I feel like I recover like Wolverine sometimes because literally the following weekend was Carnival, and I was no one could tell. Like I was just everything was back to normal, and I don't cut I guess I got thick skin. I don't cut easy at all, so I had no cuts or anything.
Wow. I felt so bad looking at you when I saw you and your eye and everything, and because I know you, I like, when I watch the footage, it for me. I don't know where it comes from, but I look at you and I'm like, I know him. I don't want him to get hurt. And is he okay? You know what I mean?
Yeah. It makes a difference when you know someone. Because I say like I'd walk into a war all day, but when you know someone is walking in, you like changes your belly's like running and so it's very, very different.
Something very interesting happened in that fight. They called it a draw. And then they said, in this case, we got one more round. And it's like, how do you prepare for that?
To be fair, we already know the rules ahead of time. I'm just not expecting it to go to a draw. And to be fair, I don't believe it was a draw at all. They didn't class one of my knockdowns either. So it shouldn't have been a draw. Obviously, he got a knockdown. They didn't class one of my knockdowns, and then they said it was a draw. So technically, I'd won that fight if they actually classed the knockdown. And then even the extra round, I was looking at it. I keep going back and I'm scoring it, and I'm like, I don't know how they gave it to him. But sometimes just in the moment, I'm not going against it because I love Mike Perry. I kind of, the way the past have gone since, it's just made perfect sense. Like that win set him up to those continuous wins and to just be the guy and the character that he is now. And then I've gone on to do some great things now as well and continuing to do great things. So I think it was just meant to be. But arguably, if I was scoring that fight, I won. And I always tell anybody, go and look at that last round and actually score it, like shot for shot, score it. It's very different. Like you'd probably see it differently. The one thing I would say that, which is another alternative to the differences, is a 2-minute round. The pace of a 2-minute round is intense. Like people think because it's less time, it's easier. I'd actually prefer to do a 5-minute round. Because a 5-minute round, you can take your time. Both sides, it's almost like an unwritten agreement. Like you're taking the time. There's a feel out process. 2-minute round, you don't have time to do any of that. It's like now. Like, and to do anything, I challenge anybody to just go on the bag for 30 seconds, all out. Just go, bap, bap, throw it. Forget technique, just power on a bag and see how knackered you are in 30 seconds. So imagine that kind of pace for 2 minutes. It's a difficult game, very, very difficult. And I respect everybody that's in that game. And like I said, obviously Mike Perry's been doing really well, bar his last boxing fight, which is very different. But in the actual BKFC, I believe he's the world champion now as well. Yeah, he's a tough guy.
How do you get over a situation where, other people can relate to this. They might not be fighting, but they want decisions